Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 26 series, Rescue the Rockies. And we are finally ready to get this 2039 to 2040 offseason underway. Appreciate all of the feedback from the Worldwide Scouting Department over the last several days and in response to the last 2 or 3 episodes. We finally have started making some of the pending decisions that we needed to make. Right when the offseason began, we exercised our option on our lefty closer, Adonis Valer, for next season. We have also decided to exercise our options on center fielder Anthony Pack Jr., as well as first baseman Ryan Stone. They are two of the only left-handed bats we potentially have returning in this lineup next year, along with Eric Mokeen. To me, Pack Jr., given that he is still outstanding defensively, and he's a guy who's at least borderline usable offensively against right-handed pitching with really good speed and a good influence in the clubhouse. That was the first decision I made. Ryan Stone certainly has been very average, in fact, almost the definition of average offensively when we look at some of his statistics over the past couple of years. But he is a left-handed bat that still should be useful against right-handed pitching. He did just win for us both the NLDS and the NLCS MVP awards. Still a very good influence in the clubhouse, good speed. But what ultimately made me decide to exercise that final year of his contract for $8 million next year is that his major league service time is still less than 10 years, so he does not have 10 and 5 rights yet. So we can probably dump him without too much pain in a trade, even if we have to retain a good chunk of his salary if we do find a potentially more interesting, meaning likely a younger and better hitter who's a lefty as a potential option at first base. We've also ultimately made some decisions on the salary arbitration eligible players, made offers to Dingwell, Kaysen, and Castillo. He's looking for huge money in an extension. So right now, heading into his first arbitration year, we're just going to go year to year with him. We did make the offer for $8.5 million a year that we talked about at the end of the last episode to Derby Mahez, and he's willing to consider that at this point. As far as catcher, there have been members of the Worldwide Scouting Department both in favor and against Nate Harris, Mike Girard, and J.D. Lee. Given that they're all potentially hitting free agency, we're not going to make offers to any of them, but we are going to submit the qualifying offer to J.D. Lee. If he opts in for one more year at $22 million, that gives us another left-handed hitter who still is a good, solid defensive catcher, and it gives us a year to potentially see what we have or don't have with Elliott Bedford as our backup catcher, rather than forcing him to be our everyday starter on a team that he might not be quite ready to take on that role for. And if Lee, Girard, and Harris all end up hitting free agency, which is probably what would happen, doesn't mean that we can't re-sign one of them or two of them to be our catchers next year, even if we have to compete with the rest of the league on it. But it lets us at least see if maybe we get lucky and there's an international free agent at catcher who comes out of nowhere and could perhaps be our answer at the position for next season. Also have finally made our decisions in the development lab. Essentially, the big move is we took Johnny Castillo, who we had thought about an I program for, out of the lab, put in Elliott Bedford, the young catcher that I mentioned, on a generate bat speed program. I think the plan is certainly to put him on a defense program during the spring. Hope that we are lucky with both of those programs. Did seriously consider taking some advice from the Worldwide Scouting Department and putting Jesse Hoffmeister on a strength and conditioning program, but ultimately decided to go with the control program. If we can improve his control, he could still be a top pitcher. I get the point that if he's not healthy, doesn't do much for you. Certainly would anticipate if this next season goes well and he does have some success improving his control and being even more effective next year, that strength and conditioning program could be a strong consideration for him then. But right now, we're going to keep him on the control program. So other than that, no big changes to what we had talked about potentially doing in the development lab. Over the course of this episode, we're going to get into award season, find out what happens with some of those arbitration and contract offers we've talked about, and then ultimately find out who's on the free agent market. As I noted, we are also in a situation right now where we are waiting to fill over a dozen coach roles throughout our minor leagues and our major leagues. So likely we'll be spending some time in the coming weeks negotiating with people who don't accept the contract offers that we've already made. And we've simmed ahead a few days, starting to get some of the coaches in our organization signed. Although, as we expected, we have struck out with some, so we've made an offer to some of our secondary and tertiary options for some of the positions, unfortunately. Starting to get some of our arbitration-eligible players signed. Trent Kaysen will be back. Phil Dangwell will be back. And Derby Mahez did end up inking that deal that we had talked about. $8.5 million a year for the next 3 years. Did get a player option for the final season, but good to have him back. Fans excited to have him back, and happy to have Trent Kaysen back as well. Melvin Reyes signs his arbitration deal. You can see we've also been signing a lot of players to minor league extensions. Johnny Castillo will be back. Obviously, the fans very excited about that. You can see we're also starting to get some coaches and managers signed as well. David Guadron also arbitration eligible for the first time, and he will be back. So making a little bit of progress here and there. Did get the fan interest back up to 100. I believe it was 98 when we started off this episode. So I'm sure driven primarily by Johnny Castillo re-signing with us, who's led the league in homers twice in 3 seasons. Certainly the credit for most of that boost, I would imagine. And we've simmed ahead a little bit more to the beginning of November. Finally filled out all of our coaching staffs. Definitely don't have as great coaches as we had before. Definitely don't have as strong cohesion and relationships among our major league staff. And we also don't have as many personable people with really good relationships among some of our minor league teams at this point. So a little bit of a step back, but it is what it is at this point. Mentioned we're not going to make the offer to Nate Harris. We've already signed Derby Mahez, as well as all of our other arbitration-eligible players. So at this point, it's just a matter of whether or not J.D. Lee accepts that QO or not, and get into award season beginning tomorrow. And award season has started off the way that it often does for us. Another very good defensive year for our Colorado Rockies, but no Gold Glove Award winners. When we take a look at the statistics from this past year, 3rd in the league in defensive efficiency, 2nd in zone rating. Feel like we've got a lot of very good fielders, but very rarely over this last half decade or so have we won any Gold Gloves. Seems like we probably have a handful of guys among the finalists at their positions every year, but has it been a very rare occurrence when we actually do have a Rocky winning a Gold Glove in recent seasons. The Mariano Rivera Award, on the other hand, is something we've been pretty dominant for most of this past half decade with a number of pitchers. As we anticipated, we thought even though he wasn't a closer, Chris Kennedy would be a very strong candidate for it this year, and he was a unanimous winner of the award, and that marks Kennedy's second Mariano Rivera Award. He also won one in 2036. You can see he's added it here in 2039. All he did was lead the league in games, in holds, while striking out 135 batters over 95 and two-thirds innings, 2.45 ERA, a sub-1 whip, and a 3.2 WAR. The runner-up was our closer, Adonis Valer, who was the Mariano Rivera Award just a year ago. And another name to mention, although he will be almost certainly departing our team this season, unfortunately, Justin Gibson, who was the Mariano Rivera Award winner in 2037. So we have had a stranglehold on that award for the last 4 seasons. But the oldest player in that bunch, Justin Gibson, and at this point the one who has won the Mariano Rivera Award the furthest in the future, given that Valer won it last season and Kennedy won it for this season, will likely be departing us this year, given the amount of money he's looking for and where he is in terms of his career. And we do have a Silver Slugger this year as well. Second baseman Johnny Castillo. Mentioned earlier that he's tied for the league lead in homers twice in 3 seasons in the majors. So no surprise to see him winning his second Silver Slugger of what we hope will be a very strong career. He is, however, the only player on the Rockies this year to receive that honor. And in what has just become absolutely ridiculous, Toby Staveland, another National League Manager of the Year award. You can see he has won the National League Manager of the Year now every season of the decade of the 2030s. 10 consecutive Manager of the Year awards for Toby Staveland at this point. And our longtime ace, pending free agent Noah Schultz, who missed most of this season and has missed most of 2 of the past 3 seasons, should be back to 100% in about 3 to 4 months, so earlier than expected for his recovery, given his age, given his health, and given the strength of our rotation and his somewhat deteriorating performance, even though his demand is not crazy at $4 million a year for 1 year. Don't really see any need for us to bring him back, even though it's good to know that hopefully he'll be healthy for spring training. And the 2 big awards in each league have now been passed out. Over in the American League, Ed Centeno of the Kansas City Royals, unanimous Cy Young Award winner, 13-8 record with a 2.84 earned run average for the Royals, led the league with 258 strikeouts, pitched over 200 innings while putting up a WAR of close to 6. In the National League, Pablo Garcia of the Miami Marlins is your Cy Young Award winner. 500 record at 11-11, but led the league with 238 strikeouts, hit a 2.71 ERA over 202 in two-thirds innings pitched. Also led the league in quality start percentage, FIP minus, and pitcher WAR at 6.2. Bernie Barrera, our number 3 starter, and Leo Martinez, our number 1 starter, both received a little bit of support in the Cy Young Award voting. Over in the American League, looks like 5 different players, including Centeno, the Cy Young Award winner, received first place votes, but still a pretty easy victory in the MVP voting for Mike Cotney Higham, switch hitting second baseman from the Houston Astros, 262 average with 34 homers and 93 ribbies, 27 steals, scored over 100 runs, led the American League with a 6.9 WAR. No surprise to see the National League Most Valuable Player, Sansao Samaro, had an incredible season. All he did was lead the National League in runs, hits, doubles, batting, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, WRC plus, and WAR, with over 10 in terms of his WAR. And even some of the categories where he didn't lead the league were pretty impressive, with 44 homers, 108 ribbies, and 24 stolen bases. Also drew 73 walks. So just a monster season from Samaro. Johnny Castillo, third in the MVP voting. Mike Castro finishes fourth. Kevin Roberts Jr. down the list a little bit. Looks like those are the 3 Colorado Rockies who received attention for National League MVP, although we certainly expected that Samaro was going to win it. A little bit disappointing. You may remember that Castillo edged out Castro a couple of years ago for Rookie of the Year when they were both rookies, when Castro was eligible for the prospect promotion incentive and Castillo was not. Looks like he might have just edged him out this year, finishing third in the voting. I believe that's the lowest you can finish in the voting to receive prospect promotion incentives. So Castro, I believe, by finishing fourth in the voting, not eligible, although it looks like, I don't know if this is just because he completed his third season. I thought 3 seasons carried on their ineligibility, or carried on their eligibility. So maybe that just happened since we went through the award season, or maybe I was mistaken and he wasn't actually eligible this year. But regardless, close, at least on one occasion and possibly 2 occasions in terms of getting some PPI compensation for Castro, but close does not count. And with award season behind us, we're rapidly heading towards free agency filings, which will take place tomorrow. J.D. Lee did decline our qualifying offer, so he's going to become a free agent. So maybe some potential draft pick compensation there with him. We've been continuing to scout the international amateur free agents, as well as some of the pending major league free agents, to ensure that we've got fulsome knowledge of the options that are out there. The interesting thing for tomorrow is going to be who actually makes free agency, and are there any international free agents that might give us an opportunity to spend some of the decent amount of money that we've got available, likely heading into this offseason. And time now with free agency filings to take a look at the pool of players out there. I haven't clicked on these international free agents yet to know what they look like, but there are 2 catchers as well as a first baseman. So maybe someone to replace Ryan Stone at first base, or maybe someone to take over as a big-time catcher for us. We'll look at all the other positions first. Reliever Yoon Hamasaki looks like a absolute monster. Incredible fastball and slider for the reliever. Not a huge need for us, but with the money we have to spend, certainly interesting to see a potentially big-time option out there. Adrian Ortiz and Jose Reyna, not quite as interesting. Third baseman Yuck Low. Pretty interesting glove, although he's definitely more of a third baseman than anything else in the infield with that poor turn double play rating. Obviously, he could play potentially outstanding first base with his 6'3" height and those ratings. Don't know that the bat is really special enough to justify playing him at those positions. And now we'll take a look at the two catchers and the first baseman. The first baseman, Juan Espinoza out of Cuba, certainly doesn't look like our answer at first base to take over for Ryan Stone. Could there be a franchise catcher on the market, though? Junzo Nishimura, respectable defensively, looks like borderline respectable offensively. He is a switch hitter. Looks like his splits favor him hitting against left-handed pitchers a little bit, though. Don't think he's necessarily a game-changing answer for us. How about Shunsuke Kodama? And unfortunately, doesn't look like he's all that special either. Respectable glove, borderline respectable bat. Looks like 33-year-old. Looks like a pretty similar player against both left-handed and right-handed pitching. So definitely have two holes at catcher to fill. I think our hope is that perhaps Elliot Bedford will fill our backup catcher spots. Taking a look at the batters who are the top hitters on the market at this point in terms of their ratings. Jason House, a guy we've been following over the years on the free agent market. Tony Rosario, certainly a pretty interesting left-handed hitter. Don't love the personality, don't love the fragility. But the bat is very productive against right-handed pitching, even though he doesn't have a ton of home run power. Still did have 19 homers last year for the Astros. Catcher-wise, two of the top names are familiar. Mike Girard looking for $19 million a year. And then J.D. Lee, this is a bit odd. You may remember that he was set to make over $22 million in his last year with us, which he opted out of and said he was looking for over $22 million a year for 5 years. He then refused the qualifying offer for $22 million for this upcoming season to come back with us. And apparently now, though, he is looking for an extra year. It's 6 years at $16.5 million, but at $99 million total, that's still less overall money than he was asking for a 5-year contract before he hit free agency. So pretty confident that Scott Boras is not J.D. Lee's agent. Mr. Moreno, respectable glove, still a respectable bat. Don't know that a catcher who's going to be 40 is really the right answer for us for next season. Brandon Olson draws a lot of walks, respectable defensively, looking for a bit less money than Girard, and Lee is also out there. And that's kind of it as far as the higher-end catchers who might be available. So we've got a fair amount of money to spend. Don't necessarily know that there's anyone that we really are going to be rushing to spend it on, which could end up meaning that we pursue somewhat more aggressively a guy like Yoon Hamasaki. There also are some interesting starting pitchers out there, former Cy Young Award winners Mike Garcia and Cameron Douglas, who both have adequate stuff to go with well above average movement and control, so pretty similar pitchers there. Again, pitching not necessarily a huge need of ours, but probably going to want to spend some money somewhere in this free agency. We'll continue to look at the options on the trade market. Don't know that there's anything all that compelling to do there at the catcher position, but certainly something that we're going to continue investigating as this off-season continues to move along. And with that, we will call it an episode. Definitely have some holes to fill with the departures of both our starting and backup catchers, the departure of our starting shortstop for much of last year, and Elena Coronado, who we had picked up in trade. Obviously, we moved on from Noah Schultz. Almost certainly we'll be moving on from Justin Gibson as well. So definitely some significant turnover this offseason. But as I talked about, we certainly have money available to hopefully supplement this roster. Gibson, interestingly, was asking for $15 million a year for several years for an extension. Now he's looking for less than $9 million a year for 3 years. So maybe we do have Justin Gibson back with us next year. Another decision that we'll be thinking about, and I'm guessing that the worldwide scouting department will opine on as well. Look forward to any feedback that viewers are willing to share. And until our next episode, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.